Hainan, Hainanese, Hainam, Jyutping, Hoi2 Naam4, literally, south of the sea, Vietnamese. Hainan is the smallest and southernmost province of the People's Republic of China. The name Hainan also refers to Hainan Island, the main island of the province. Hainan is located in the South China Sea, separated from Guangdong's Leizhou Peninsula to the north by the shallow and narrow Qiongzhou Strait. Hainan was part of Guangdong Province until 1988, when the island became part of the newly created Hainan Province. The province has an area of 33,920 square kilometers and is China's southernmost province. Although it comprises some 200 islands scattered among 3 archipelagos off the southern coast, 32,900 square kilometers of its land mass is Hainan Island, from which the province takes its name. The PRC government claims territories of the province extend to the southern Spratly Islands, Paracel Islands, and other disputed marine territory. Hainan Province is the largest special economic zone established by Chinese leader Deng Xiaoping in the late 1980s. There are a total of 10 major cities and 10 counties in Hainan Province. Haikou on the northern coast of Hainan Island is the capital, while Sanya is a well-known tourist destination on the southern coast. The other major cities are Wenchang, Qionghai, Wanning, Wuzhishan, Dongfang and Danzhou. Etymology. The name Hainan describes its location south of the Qiongzhou Strait, while the Leizhou Peninsula is also called Hai Bay as it is located north of the strait. Hainan Island was once called the Pearl Cliffs, Fine Jade Cliffs, and the Fine Jade Land. The latter two names gave rise to the province's abbreviation, Qiong, referring to the pearls that were once abundant on the north coast of the island. History. Hainan Island first entered written history in 110 BC, when the Han dynasty established a military garrison following the arrival of General Lubode. In 46 BC the Han court decided that the conquest was too expensive and abandoned the island. Around that time, Han people together with military personnel and officials began to migrate to Hainan Island from the mainland. Among them were the offspring of those who were banished to Hainan for political reasons. Most of them arrived in Hainan Island from the southern provinces of Guangdong, Fujian and Guangxi. Li people of the original inhabitants of Hainan. They are believed to be the descendants of the ancient tribes from the mainland who settled on the island between 7 and 27,000 years ago. The Li people mainly reside in the 9 cities and counties in the middle and southern part of Hainan, the cities of Sanya, Wuzhishan and Dongfang. The Li autonomous counties of Baisha, Lingshui, Ledong, Changjiang, and the Li and Miao autonomous counties of Qiongzhou and Beiuting. Some others live elsewhere on Hainan with other ethnic groups in Danzhou, Wanning, Qionghai, Lingshui and Tunchang. The area inhabited by the Li ethnic group totals 18,700 square kilometers, about 55% of the province's total. During the Three Kingdoms period, Hainan was the Juyou commandery under the control of Eastern Wu. At the time of the Song dynasty, Hainan became part of Guangxi, and for the first time large numbers of Han Chinese arrived, settling mostly in the north. Under the Mongol Empire, the island became an independent province. Then in 1370 was placed under the administration of Guangdong by the ruling Ming dynasty. In the 16th and 17th centuries, large numbers of Han people from Fujian and Guangdong began migrating to Hainan, pushing the Li into the highlands in the southern half of the island. In the 18th century, the Li rebelled against the Qing Empire, which responded by bringing in mercenaries from the Miao regions of Guizhou. Many of the Miao settled on the island and the descendants live in the western highlands to this day. During the 17th and 18th centuries, explorers referred to the island as Hainan, which remains the pronunciation of its name in the local Hainanese dialect. In 1906, the revolutionary leader Sun Yat-sen proposed that Hainan should become a separate province, although this did not happen until 1988. Hainan was historically part of Guangdong and Guangxi provinces, and as such was the Qiongzhou Circuit under the 1912 establishment of the Republic of China. In 1921, it was planned to become a special administrative region. In 1944, it became Hainan Special Administrative Region with 16 counties containing the South China Sea Islands. During the 1920s and 30s, Hainan was a hotbed of communist activity, especially after a bloody crackdown in Shanghai. The Republic of China in 1927 drove many communists into hiding. The communists and the Lean natives fought a vigorous guerrilla campaign against the Japanese occupation of Hainan, but in retaliation over one-third of the male population were killed by the Japanese. Thang Beiju led the Hainan Independent column of fighters throughout the 1930s and 1940s. After the Japanese surrender in 1945, the Nationalist Party re-established control. Hainan was one of the last areas of China controlled by the Republic of China. From March to May 1950, the landing operation on Hainan Island captured the island for the Chinese Communists. Hainan had been left to the command of Zhu Yu after Chiang Kai-shek fled to Taiwan. Thang Beiju and his column of guerrilla fighters played an essential role in scouting for the landing operation and coordinated their own offensive for the jungle bases on the island. This allowed the Hainan takeover to be successful where the Jinmen and Denbu assaults had failed in the previous fall. The takeover was made possible by the presence of a local guerrilla force that was lacking also on Taiwan. Hence, while many observers of the Chinese Civil War thought that the fall of Hainan Island to the Communists would be followed shortly by the fall of Taiwan Island, the lack of any Communist guerrilla force on Taiwan Island and its sheer distance from the mainland made this impossible. As did the arrival of the U.S. 7th Fleet in the Taiwan Strait after the outbreak of the Korean War in June. On the 1st of May 1950, under the PRC, the Special Administrative Region became an Administrative Region Office, a branch of the Guangdong Provincial Government. The Communists resumed development of the island along the lines established by the Japanese, but the results were limited by the island's isolation, its humid and typhoon-prone climate, and its continuing reputation as a place of danger and exile by mainland Chinese. With China's shift in economic policy at the end of the 1970s, Hainan became a focus of attention. During the mid-1980s, when Hainan Island was still part of Guangdong Province, a 14-month episode of marketing zeal by Hainan Special District Administrator Leizhou put Hainan's pursuit of provincial status under a cloud. It involved the duty-free imports from Hong Kong of 90,000 Japanese-made cars and trucks at a cost of 4.5 billion yen, and exporting them, with the help of local naval units, to the mainland, making 150% profits. By comparison, only 10,000 vehicles were imported into Hainan since 1950. In addition, it involved further consignments of 2.9 million TV sets, 252,000 videocassette recorders and 122,000 motorcycles. The money was taken from the 1983 central government funds destined for the construction of the island's transportation infrastructure over the next 10 years. On October 1, 1984, it became the Hainan Administrative Region, with the People's Government, and finally as province separate from Guangdong 4 years later. In 1988, when the island was made a separate province, it was designated a special economic zone in an effort to increase investment. The central government funds were deemed insufficient by the Hainan authorities for the construction of the island's other infrastructures and had taken a very liberal interpretation of the economic and trade regulations for Hainan and 13 coastal cities. The regulations did not mention on prohibiting the reselling of second-hand goods. Some of the proceeds from unsold units were later retrieved by the central government to refinance the special district. Geography: Hainan, separated by the Qiongzhou Strait from the Leizhou Peninsula of Guangdong, is the largest island administered by the People's Republic of China. The area of Hainan Island, 97% of the province, is similar to that of Belgium. To the west of Hainan Island is the Gulf of Tonkin. Wuxi Mountain is the highest mountain on the island. Hainan Island measures 155 kilometers long and 169 kilometers wide. Rivers and lakes: most of the rivers in Hainan originate in the central area of the island and flow radially in different directions. The Wanning River in the southern part of the island is the largest river surrounding Hainan. It is 350 kilometers long. The Nandu River in the northern part of the island is 314 kilometers long, and its tributary, the Xinwu River, is 109 kilometers long. The Changhu River in the west is 230 kilometers long, and the Wangquan River in the east is 162 kilometers long. Evaporation during the dry season around the coastal areas greatly reduces the flow of the rivers. There are very few natural lakes in Hainan. There is a well-known artificial reservoir, the Songtao Reservoir, in the central north area. Islands: nearby islands. Several small islands exist around the coast of Hainan Island. Dazhou Island is located about 5 kilometers off the coast of Wanning. Hainan Island, on the north coast, is part of Haikou City. Nanwan Monkey Island, in actuality a peninsula. Phoenix Island is an artificial resort island currently under construction in Sanya Bay. Hoi2 Island is located within Haitang Bay. Xinbu Island is located directly to the east of Hainan Island. Due to the close proximity to the main island, the flora, fauna, and climate conditions are very similar. Disputed islands: a number of small islands, which are located hundreds of kilometers to the south, are claimed and administrated by Sansha as part of Hainan Province. Sovereignty of these islands is however disputed. These islands include Paracel Islands, Isha Islands, the West Sands, claimed by Vietnam, the PRC and the Republic of China, Money Island, Paracel Islands, Rocky Island, South China Sea, Tree Island, South China Sea, Triton Island, Woody Island, South China Sea, Zhongsha Islands, the Middle Sands, Spratly Islands, Nansha Islands, the South Sands, are subject to claims by Vietnam, the PRC, Rock, Malaysia, the Philippines, and Brunei. Spratly Island, Flat Island, Taiping Island, James Shell, Loita Island, Namite Island, Nanshan Island, Sinkau Island, Thitu Island, West York Island. Environment: compared to most of mainland China, the air quality of Hainan is far higher. Throughout 2012, Hainan had the highest air quality in the country for 351 days. The provincial government's environmental protection campaign has taken action against a number of industrial plants. During 2012, several outdated manufacturing facilities had their business licenses revoked, and 175 cases related to illegal sewage discharge were handled. Total sulfur dioxide emissions for the province were 34,000 tons in 2012, a 3% year-on-year reduction. In 2011, smog emissions were reduced 6.3% to 15,000 tons. Cleanup of towns. During 2015, a widespread program to clean up the towns and villages was undertaken. Government workers removed litter from villages and many roadsides. They removed numerous small, illegal dumps, and placed plastic dumpsters in villages and countryside road intersections. Climate. The climate of Hainan varies from subtropical to fully tropical. Northern Hainan, including the island's capital Hoi2, has a humid subtropical climate, while most of the rest of the island has a tropical monsoon climate with warmer annual temperatures. The further south a location is, the coldest months are January and February, when temperatures drop to 16 to 21 degrees Celsius. The hottest months are July and August, and the temperatures are 25 to 29 degrees Celsius. Except for the mountainous regions in the central part of the island, the daily average temperature in Hainan in all months is well above 10 degrees Celsius, and the total number of growing degree days reaches 8,000 to 9,000 degrees Celsius. The summer in the north is hot, and, for more than 20 days in a year, the temperature can be higher than 35 degrees Celsius. The average annual precipitation is 1,500 to 2,000 millimeters and can be as high as 2,400 millimeters in central and eastern areas, and as low as 900 millimeters in the coastal areas of the southwest. Parts of Hainan lie in the path of typhoons, and 70% of the annual precipitation is derived from typhoons and the summer rainy season. Major flooding occurs due to typhoons, which can cause many problems for local residents. Annual fog. From January to February, the island of Hainan is affected by thick fog, particularly in coastal areas and the northern part of the island. This is caused by cold winter air from the north coming into contact with the warmer sea, causing the moisture that evaporates from the sea to be condensed into fog. The fog remains from day to night, and is evenly distributed. Visibility may be reduced to 50 meters for days at a time. During this period, residents normally keep windows shut. The moisture in the air is so extreme that the walls in homes weep, and floors often accumulate a layer of water several millimeters deep. Flora and fauna. Hainan has over 1,500 square kilometers of tropical forest, in which live 4,600 kinds of plants and more than 570 species of animals. However, due to an invasion of exotic species, human impact from tourism, deforestation, and the release of pollutants, many species are under threat. A report from the Department of Land, Environment and Resources of Hainan Province states that 200 species are near extinction, with 6 species, such as Hainanese Hainanensis and Sciaphyllatonella, already extinct. Flora. The majority of Hainan's land mass is forest, with 61.5% coverage reported at the end of 2012. This is an increase of 34,133 hectares since 2011. A further 1,187 hectares grass and trees were planted along the province's highways. There are 53 genera in 29 families of wild and cultivated fruit growing on Hainan Island. There are few large trees on the island. Coconut palms are very common along with other smaller trees. Most of Hainan Island is, however, covered by forest. Hainan yellow lantern chili is a pepper similar to the Scotch bonnet. Hainan white pine, a species of tree. Cephalotaxus hainanensis is a species of plum yew. Fauna. There are numerous protected areas and wildlife preserves on the island. Animals that are ubiquitous throughout the island include frogs, toads, geckos, skinks, and butterflies. Present but less commonly observed are snakes, Siberian chipmunks, squirrels, and the masked palm civet. Almost no large animals remain in the wild. The lakes are largely populated with carp and catfish. There are 362 known bird species. Seabirds such as gulls are not generally seen. Egrets are common in agricultural areas. Similar to many subtropical areas, insect species are diverse, and mosquitoes are very common. Hainan gymnure is a small mammal. Hainan partridge is a species of bird endemic to Hainan Island. Hainan peacock pheasant is an endangered species belonging to the Phasianidae family. Hainan black-crested gibbon is one of the world's most endangered primates. Seacology, a non-profit organization in Berkeley, California, United States, initiated a project to protect the highly endangered Hainan gibbon in exchange for scholarships for the children of 4 villages near Guangdong Reserve. Hainan hare is a species of hare endemic to Hainan. A subspecies of the leopard cat is endemic to Hainan. Hainan leaf warbler is an Old World warbler in the Phylloscopidae family. In the ocean, sea turtles and whale sharks are known to migrate in these waters. Many whales such as North Pacific right whales, western gray whales, humpback whales, and blue whales were historically seen in the winter and spring to mate and calve. These gentle giants of the sea had been hunted heavily and were wiped out by Japanese whalers. A few bride's whales and minke whales may still occur in the adjacent waters along with on Leizhou Peninsula and the Gulf of Tonkin. Smaller species of whale and dolphins, such as short-finned pilot whales and pantropical spotted dolphins, but most notably the endangered Chinese white dolphin. Declared sanctuary for the species extends along the coasts. Dugongs still occur in small number, mostly on Gulf of Tonkin side. Demographics. The population density of Hainan is low compared to most Chinese coastal provinces. In 2000, the ethnic groups of Hainan included the Han Chinese, known as the Hainanese people, who are the majority, the Li, the Miao and the Zhuang. The Li are the largest indigenous group on the island in terms of population. Also found on the island are the Utsuls, descendants of Cham refugees, who are classified as Hui by the Chinese government. There is a Tanka community that live at Sanya Bay. Although they are indigenous to the island and do not speak a Chinese language, the Limgao people near the capital are counted as Han Chinese. Religion. Most of the Hainanese population practices Chinese folk religion and Chinese Buddhism. The Li population has a Theravada Buddhist minority. Most of the Utsuls of the island, a branch of Cham people living near Sanya, are Muslims. Because Hainan was a point in the travel route of missionaries, there are some Christians. According to the Chinese General Social Survey of 2009, Christians constitute 0.48% of the province's population. Nanshan Park is the center of Buddhism on Hainan Island, encompassing more than 50 square kilometers of rainforest. The site includes countless grand temples, statues and spiritual gardens, the likes of Savior Garden and Longevity Valley, with intricately trimmed hedges and abundant in lotus flowers. A venerated symbol in Buddhism meaning virtue purity. At the heart of the valley is the Grand Nanshan Temple, its gates flanked by stone figures of Buddha in front of the Tang Dynasty-style entrance. The interior displays images of the 4 heavenly kings amid statues of other deities enshrined in renderings of stone, gold and jade. Perhaps the most popular site within the Nanshan Buddhist cultural zone is the awe-inspiring stone rendering of the Bodhisattva Guanyin, emerging out of the South China Sea to stand at 108 meters, taller than the Statue of Liberty. The Nanshan Buddhist cultural zone is visited by thousands of tourists and pilgrims each year who come pay homage to the site that plays a significant role in the religion in China and to sample some of the finest Buddhist vegan cuisine on the island. Languages. The Han Chinese of Hainan speak a variant of the Minnan Chinese language, known as Hainanese. In addition, the national standard Putonghua is understood and spoken by most people people, and Cantonese is understood by some local Hainanese. The Li, the Zhuang and the Limgao speak Taikade languages. The Miao speak Hmong-Mien languages. These groups would usually speak Putonghua as a second language. 4,500 people in the villages of Yanglan and Wixin, two villages on the outskirts of Sanya, speak the Tsat language, a member of the Austronesian Chamic languages. Adults who are members of a minority also have quite high literacy skills in Chinese. Most adults speak several Chinese dialects, and some also speak Li, in Old Jiacheng City and its vicinity, as well as for several dozen miles west of Hui and Wixin. The so-called military speech is spoken in Yanglan village to the northeast. Two Min dialects, both closely related to Cantonese, are spoken. The Mai dialect and the Danzhou dialect, spoken in Haipo village in the south, which is the same dialect as the dialect spoken in Danzhou in Dan country in the northern part of the island. For the east to the west along the seashore, the Hainanese dialect is used. In Sanya city itself one sometimes finds speakers of Mandarin Chinese and Cantonese. The general public can also use standard Chinese to communicate with mainlanders. When Chams interact with the Hainanese dialect speakers from within Hainan Province, they use the Hainanese dialect, though youngsters generally use Mandarin. Not many can communicate in Li when interacting with the Li, so the Hainanese dialect of Mandarin is often used. In the marketplace and within the Sanya municipality, the Cham speakers use Cham among themselves, and when they interact with speakers of other languages, they mostly use the Hainanese dialect. However, in the marketplaces near the government seat of Yanglan Township, the Chams either use the Hainanese dialect or the Mai dialect. Government. Even while Hainan Island was a part of Guangdong, it had a considerable amount of local autonomy. The southern half of the island was an autonomous prefecture. Hainan's elevation to provincial level in 1988 increased its accountability to the central people's government, but by designating the new province a special economic zone, the central government expressed its intent to allow Hainan maximum flexibility in devising programs to facilitate foreign investment and economic growth. Administratively, the province has been divided into 5 economic major districts. Politics. The politics of Hainan is structured in a dual-party government system like all other governing institutions in mainland China. The governor of Hainan is the highest-ranking official in the People's Government of Hainan. However, in the province's dual-party government governing system, the governor has less power than the Hainan Communist Party of China Provincial Committee Secretary or CPC Party Chief. Intelligence. Per the research conducted by Information Warfare Monitor, Hainan is the physical location of GhostNet. The Chinese government has officially denied the existence of a cyber war and intelligence apparatus. Administrative. In the official PRC territorial claim, Hainan Province includes not just one island, but also some 200 South China Sea islands. Whilst the containment of the South China Sea islands means that Hainan Province has a very large water body, it has a disproportionately small land area. James Shoal, which is presently marked by the PRC, signifies the country's southernmost border, but Malaysia also claims that it is on their continental shelf. Subdivisions. Hainan Province uses a slightly different administrative system than the other provinces of China. Most other provinces are divided entirely into prefecture-level divisions, each of which is then divided entirely into county-level divisions. County county-level divisions generally do not come directly under the province. In Hainan, nearly all county-level divisions come directly under the province. This method of division is due to Hainan's relatively sparse population of around 8 million people. Military Hainan Island is home to the People's Liberation Army Navy Hainan submarine base and strategic nuclear submarine naval harbor at 18.221 degrees north, 109.686 degrees east, 18.221, 109.686. The naval harbor is estimated to be 60 feet high, built into hillsides around a military base. The caverns are capable of hiding up to 20 nuclear submarines from spy satellites. The harbor houses nuclear ballistic missile submarines and is large enough to accommodate aircraft carriers. The U.S. Department of Defense has estimated that China will have 5 Type Hoi2 Naam4 submarines operational by 2010, with each capable of carrying 12 JL-2 ballistic missiles. 2 950-meter piers and 3 smaller ones would be enough to accommodate 2 carrier strike groups or amphibious assault ships.